fraternity out here. Uh, just a minute. Sure. And EI is something that is very, very close to my heart. And having been associated with the field of academics for quite some time now, with all the aspects. I mean, when I say aspects, I mean I have worked from the lowermost level to the highermost level in my own space, and I have catered to a wide variety of students. I'm sure, with all humility, I might add that the variety of the students that I have catered, not many people come across, because I have come from two different streams. I am a graduate in the field of medicine. I am also a PhD in the field of management. And in between, we talk about medical, paramedical students, and we talk about journalism, mass communication, engineering students, management students, all those uh, students I have had the pleasure of catering to. And my experience of academics, whatever I have witnessed, whatever I've absorbed, whatever I have learned, whatever I have been told, leads me to just one idea, that the phenomena, that the concept, that the importance of emotional intelligence in the lives of teachers like us is indispensable. Indispensable. And sadly, it is one area which still has been relegated. And if at all it is talked about, it is talked about in academic context, just to have a theoretical understanding, not from a perspective of implementing it, using it, learning from it, and using it to make our lives go better. And that is one area I feel very, very strongly about. So when I got this chance, this opportunity of being a part of this wonderful FDP, and that too on emotional intelligence, I was really, really overjoyed. And I so very look forward to this session with all of you, dear friends. So I have put together a presentation because that is what the requirement is. Although I would love to talk to you over the screen, one to one, face to face. I see we are about 90 people who have logged in. I assume all of you are listening, all of you are tuned in behind your screens, even those whose videos are turned off. Um, Oh, thank you, Kinjal. Thank you, Yasna, for switching on your video. I can see that. So at least that gives me a consolation that I'm talking to humans on the other side of the screen. Uh, oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you all. Thank you so very much. And oh, wonderful. Friends, let me ask you a question. How do you want this session to run? Do you want me to do the talking and you to do the listening? Do you want you to do the talking and me to do the listening? That can also happen, no worries. Or do you want me to do a little bit of talking and you doing a little bit of talking and we both doing a little bit of talking and we both coming silent for some time? And that is how we play this game. Priyanka says it should be interactive, bi-directional. Okay, yes, that is what we all enjoy, we all need. But having this bi-directional means that both of us need to contribute. Yeah, which means that questions should flow from both the sides, answers should flow from both the sides, responses should flow from both the sides, discussions should flow from both the sides. Yes or no? That means I am allowed to be ignorant. I am allowed to be little stupid. I am allowed to seek answers. I am allowed to seek enlightenment. And you will help me understand that more. Do you commit to that? Do you commit to that? Thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful to you. I'm so grateful to you. And that is how it is. And that is how actually learning happens. I hope there are some people out here who are from the HR background or from the psychology background. And of course, all of us being academicians will appreciate the fact that learning is a psychosocial process. It always happens at a mental level, at an emotional level, at an intellectual level, and also it happens when we discuss, when we interact, and that is how the perspectives come out. I will not bring any research paper. I have not brought any research paper to download information. It is not this forum. I come here to share whatever I have learned about EI, about how EI operates in academics, how EI operates in this concept of academic leadership. And I have come to share that information with you. It may not be accurate, it may not appeal to you, a lot many of it may not appeal to you, but that's okay. Allow me that privilege. Okay, fine. So, let me just share. So I need to share a window. Yes. Friends, if you can see my screen, please let me know.
Yes, sir, your screen is visible.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. As you can see, I'm logged in from two devices, so that in one device I can share my screen. I don't get to see you, and another device I can see your responses. All right. So welcome, dear friends, to this.
Sir, if possible, just make it full screen or give the F5 to the presentation.
I have done it full screen, madam.
I think we can see your PPT
You can
slide.
see
Not
my
yes, if possible F5 कर दीजिए sir इसका.
F5.
5 हाँ.
F5. Yes,
Yes,
of course,
F5.
ma'am. Why not? लीजिए. रुकिए, मैं फिर से करता हूँ.
I think stop
It says
sharing.
stop sharing. I'll do it again. Don't worry.
Okay.
Mhm. Can you see it now?
Yes, I can see it now, but you have to go to your PPTs. Right now, your window is open.
Give me a minute,
No
please.
issue, sir. Take your time.
I hope I won't take much of your time. I don't know what happens here. This.
Um, Just open your PPT. So, okay, now it's fine. Let it be, sir. No, no. Now it's fine, sir.
Well, I don't know. It is coming full screen on my screen, but it's not coming, I think, from on your screen. Is that so? Is that what you mean?
Now, sir, it's fine. We can see your screen and having a presentation on the screen. No issue, sir. Go
ठीक है.
ahead.
चलिए, let's. Right. So my work has already been talked about. I won't go much into the detail. Uh, Let me ask you a question before I start, and let's play a little game. All right? Will you be comfortable with that? So I would request you to please submit your emotional weather report. Do you understand what is your emotional weather report? Is it? No? So your emotional weather report is you will tell me your emotion in the form of an emoticon. You'll tell your name and the location you're logging it from. So I need three things from you. I need your emotion, what you are feeling in the form of an emoticon, your name, and the location you are dialing it from. Not the words, an emoticon. An emoticon expressing your Dr. Gopal Singh, not the words, emoticon. Yes. So smiley from Haryana. Okay. Good. Thank you, Priyanka. Let me see how quickly you can do that. All right. Vidya from Punjab. Okay. Priyanka Rai from Bhopal. Kinjal from Gujarat. All right. Surat, Odisha. So everybody is happy. Shweta, is that a wink? Okay. From Mumbai. All right. Dr. Gopal Singh is from Rajasthan. Wonderful. Jayanti from Telangana. Where is the emoticon? Thank you, Hema from Pune. Welcome. Rajkot, Guwahati, Karnataka. Oh my God. Oh my God. Great. I need that in an emoticon, Vaishali. Shobana from Nagaland. Wonderful.
So we
Odisha.
glad to share with you that we have a participation from different 22 states of India.
Oh yes, I can see that. Thank you for so much for that, Krishna madam. I was just going to share this. We are logging in from all parts of India. Wonderful, and that is the beauty of having an online reach of this FDP, that it reaches out to different participants from different geographical boundaries.
Sir is only cross verifying that whether participants are from all states of the country or not.
No, I'm not cross-verifying at all, Dr. Sarika. As a matter of fact, I was going to, bring you to a very important aspect of what today's learning is going to be all about. So, thank you, dear friends. What did you feel, and what is the significance of that feeling? That is my question to you. All of you have displayed an emoticon of a smiley. I assume all of you are happy. What is the significance of that?
Self-assessment of current state of emotion, which is a best part of EI, which is one of the most part of EI.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Good state of mind, Priyanka. Thank you. But what is the significance of that?
How are you feeling right now? That is what you are looking for, sir.
Okay, but what is the significance of that?
So we'll learn a lot more than the usual because we are happy and we are in a more absorbing state of knowledge.
Thank you so much. That is very, very accurate. Perfect. Kudos to you. The thing which I'm trying to highlight here is that when you are in a happy state, when you are experiencing happy emotion, you become more receptive, you become more open, you become less guarded, you become less cautious. When you become more open, you become more receptive, you are in a perfect condition to receive learning. It is a fact that we know, but we neglect, we leave it aside when we enter into our classrooms. Think how many of us try to bring that kind of emotional climate inside our classroom every time we walk in. We leave that. We ignore that. We relegate that. And I understand the pressure of work is so much. Anyways, so that was just one aspect we hit upon. We'll try to uncover many more such things. Um, I have another question for you all. Which function or role of teaching is related to leadership? Is there any correlation between the role of a teacher and a leader? Could you get my question? Is there any correlation between the role of a teacher and a leader? What do you think? For those of us who have answered yes, please tell me, what is the correlation and
Teacher
how?
creates so many leaders. No?
I'll stop sharing so that I can see your responses. Yeah. What is the correlation between teacher and leader? Somebody was saying, somebody was speaking. Teacher himself is a leader, he leads by example. Okay, coaching, mentoring. What else? What aspects of your academic duties do you find correlates with leadership?
To show right path to the students for future, maybe to give the vision for future.
Okay, do we really do that, Dr. Shweta?
Yes, sir, we do.
I'm just asking. I'm just trying to understand and I'll tell you. I'll tell you about my predicament. My predicament in academics has been that we talk about things, but when it comes to practice, there is a huge gap.
Actually,
Correct,
sir,
correct me.
in
Correct.
medical, this thing, or I am a physiotherapist, so I'm a teacher of physiotherapy.
Oh,
So in
wonderful.
that, we try to deal with the patient in such a way that looking at us, the students will learn. So there is a little bit less gap in theory and practical for us at least. And another thing is to share some ideas with the student, just to give them a seed so that they will grow their own ideas. It's a way that we want a future, so we do try to do that.
That is lovely. That is noble. How many lives have we touched? And I'm not talking about you personally, Dr. Shweta. I'm, this is a general question I am flinging to all people who are present in this congregation. Because this is what has been my dilemma, and I would be happy to learn from you. We talk about teachers as though we are gods. We'll touch the life, we'll inspire lives, we'll change lives, we'll do this. Have we? Have we really touched?
So may
Have,
I?
just a minute, Priyanka madam. Let me just finish. Have we really touched? More importantly, are we allowed the liberty to touch somebody's life? How many of you have tried to bring an innovation and you have been allowed by your departmental heads? How many of us have actually done what we are trying to do, what we love doing? I ask you this question. How many of us are actually teaching? Are we faculty members or are we administrative clerks? And this is the scenario we operate in. Let's not talk about specifics. If in a congregation of 90 plus people, one or two people do this, wonderful. But I'm talking about a general scenario because these are the challenges, these are the scenarios, these are the areas we are operating in, and we are talking about leadership. प्रियंका जी आप कुछ कह रही थी. अच्छा, tell me one thing, dear friends. Is it okay if I use a little bit of Hindi? If there is some mixed language that comes in,
Yes, sir.
is it okay?
Yes, sir, no problem.
Yes, sir.
आपको ये तो नहीं लगेगा रिसोर्स पर्सन पढ़ा लिखा नहीं है, अंग्रेजी में बात नहीं कर रहा है?
ऐसा तो कुछ नहीं है, sir. Whichever language is comfortable, we try to understand.
So very nice of you. I'm just on the lighter side. Priyanka ji, you were saying something.
Yes, sir. Thank you. First, sir, thank you so much for being with us. As like Dr. Shweta, I'm also a physiotherapist and
Oh.
I'm into the world of academia. I'm teaching from last 5 years. So
Great.
what is my observation is, sir, as your question was, what is the leadership?
Hmm.
So I must say, leader is not the one who commands,
Mhm.
but leader is the one whose commands are actually followed up by the people. So when I teach, my agenda is not only to deliver the lecture and come out of the class, but at the end of the session, I want each of every student.
Priyanka ji, you're on the mute.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir. When I teach personally, my agenda is not only to deliver the lecture and come out of the class. My agenda is more whatever I have taught. The students have understand the concept, and they should come up with their queries.
Okay.
And more they would come up with their queries. I would love to participate and engage with those students, and with that we should get to know the mindset of the children,
Okay.
like at what level they can think about that particular topic. And
Okay.
you said the concept of innovations. So sir, that is the point where we actually make out the level of the students and we pick them from that particular
Priyanka
side.
ji, can I interrupt for a minute?
Sure, sir, sure.
See, taking pains to explain the concept to the student,
Right.
handling his queries, removing his doubts, ensuring that he gets good grades is not leadership.
Sir, that is what I'm saying. Engaging them.
Priyanka madam, now
Right.
the baton is on me now.
Yeah.
If I don't conduct the session, Dr. Sarika will, hang me from the collar. Don't
Sure,
want that.
sir.
So that is our job that we are doing. That is what we are getting paid for. That is what our duties are. Performance of our duties is not leadership at all. Leadership is much beyond. Leadership is much beyond. You see? Anyways, so my question originally was, and we had a couple of inputs here who said that they want the session to be in English. Yes, at any point of time you feel, any one of you who you feel that you are not able to get to me, my ideas don't get to you, you want some explanation, please feel free. We'll have it. Be open. Be open. I had a very simple question. If I ask you to make two columns, on one column is qualities of a teacher, one column is qualities of a leader, are there similarities or are there differences? What qualities would you list under teachers? What qualities would you list under leaders? Bhargav has raised a hand. Yes, Bhargav ji, you want to say something?
Yeah, I have raised hand for the leadership part which you have asked
Yes,
earlier.
please.
But
Yes, please.
I believe that leader is one who thinks of inclusive growth.
Yes.
When we talk about academics, inclusive growth of faculty members as well as the students, those who are working under them.
Yes.
So that is what I believe, that inclusive growth is very much essential. That is my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So very well put. And when you talk about inclusive growth, it doesn't mean only including the students in your class, just ensuring that they go on with their lessons well. It also talks about several different dimensions. And in the institutions of today, merely imparting sessions, merely imparting knowledge is just one part. You have to mentor them, you have to coach them, you have to guide them. I'm sure many of you would be faculty guides to students who would be pursuing projects under you. Many of you would be faculty mentors who will be assigned a cohort of groups to mentor. You will be you're responsible for their growth, you're responsible for their development, and each session has new batches coming to you. In this scenario, this is what academic leadership is all about. And how or what makes it more effective is what we are going to learn today. How to make it more effective, what factors are there, what tools we can use to make it more impactful is what we are going to talk about. Rachita, you have a question? You raise your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to share that a leader is someone with a great vision and mission.
Yes.
With a great vision and mission, who is empathetic, who is having an attitude of gratitude, who is actually putting his students first, and then he is the one who is just like Lord Krishna taking the rope in his hand.
Oh
So
my
basically
God,
a good communicator, a good person with a great vision and a mission.
That is so very noble, Rachita madam. I really appreciate that. Although I sometimes wonder, I have seen faculty members who put their students before themselves. And you know what happened? Their family life went for a toss. And how ironical it is that, and I'm talking from real life example, that a faculty spends more time with the students than with his own children, resulting in the isolation of his own children. And after a certain time, the students to which he devoted his time, they went off in their own life track. Anyways, so good discussion there. Thank you. Can you see my screen, dear friends? Can you see the screen? I'd like you to, have a look at this statement. This statement actually gives us a close understanding of what an academic leader is all about. It indicates not only the results of his action, what he does, but also the periphery or the range of what he does. The greater, the more wider his range, the more effective the academic leader. And today's session is just about that. How to increase the range of the academic leader inside us using the tool called emotional intelligence.
Sir, we are seeing the wrong slide. Third one actually, and you are reading something other one.
Now, what you should be seeing would be the food for thought. Is that correct? Are you seeing that slide?
No, sir.
Food for yeah.
We are seeing the same slide, food for
Yes, sir.
thought.
Yes, sir.
What sculpture
Yes.
to a block of marble?
Yes, and there is a
Yes, yes.
statement out there.
Statement.
Can you see the statement?
Yeah, what sculpture is to a block of marble, education is to a
To a
human
human
soul.
soul. Yes. That is what I've been sharing. I can see it on my other device. It is very much visible.
Yes, yes. It is visible.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Although it is not on presentation mode, I don't know what has happened. I don't want to mess with Google Meet, but that's okay. Now, friends, do you think that leadership in academia can be compared to that in business or in politics for that matter?
No, sir.
Okay. What makes you say so?
There is a lot difference between educational leadership, whereas the political or in business, the entire setup, the entire things are different.
Okay.
And the basic thing is that education, the philosophy behind education is that it is kind of like a noble job, noble service, and so that is the reason that we cannot compare this. Whereas in a politics, whereas in a business, the basic ethics or the basic things are totally different. In my opinion, I mean, this is my opinion.
Oh, perfectly well, sir. Thank you so much. And why not? I mean, we are entitled to have our opinions, and this forum is a wonderful place wherein we can voice our opinions. And you are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. I have another perspective, if you permit me to share. See, the settings, the context may be different. Of course, political leadership is totally different because that is about manipulation. That's a different kind of leadership, totally. And yet, we have had political leaders who have casted their, what shall I say, their impact on generations. Take, for example, political leader like Abraham Lincoln. He was into politics. He was the president of the United States. And yet, we learn from his life. His life is an inspiring case study of leadership. You talk about business leadership, you have examples of the Tata family. You have examples of Jack Welch, who came from the field of business and impacted, lives of so many people around. And when you talk about academics, you have examples of people like Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, who incidentally, whose birthday we celebrate as Teachers' Day, which falls in this month. And if you go through their lifestyles, you will find that their facets, the features that they possessed, by which they still occupy a place of reverence in our hearts, the features are the same. The basis of the features is the same. The reason why they were able to display those qualities are the same. And we'll explore that further as we move around. Permit me to elaborate on how academic leadership structure operates in academic institutions. So if you notice, there's a general kind of structure that that is followed in academic institutions. If you're coming from a university, the top leadership position is the university's vice chancellor or the promoter for that matter. And then there is a departmental leadership, which either is the dean or the director, and then there are faculties. There are faculty coordinators for different kind of programs, and each of them is a leader position in themselves, having different areas and spheres of action. Is it not?
Yes.
That is the structure that we operate. And in government universities, the departmental head position is something which is nowadays they have made it rotational. Also, I recently was speaking to a very senior faculty member in NIT of India in one part, and he has recently been designated as the director of a different NIT because of his seniority and his and all that which comes with it. So he says that it is a 5-year kind of assignment. He'll be director somewhere, and then he'll again revert to the faculty professor position that he is in his parent institution. So academic leadership position is time bound, rotational, and all the feature, and you know how it operates. And in this scenario, it becomes a Herculean task for people to actually implement change, to actually change some structure, or to enumerate a change which deals with the policy or which they want to implement. It becomes a Herculean task because they are not really keen on it. Secondly, you have a classic case wherein the competencies of an academic leader are in one direction. What I'm saying is that academicians are research oriented, so probably they want to do research, they want to write research papers, and not many of us might have the aptitude to go in for a leadership position. Running a department requires managerial capacity. How many of us are actually trained for that managerial capacity? And that is why we have a classic situation wherein our skills are in one direction and our roles are in another direction. Do you agree with what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Do whatever I say makes any sense to you?
Yes, yes.
Not many people agree. Yeah? You understand this situation. So what happens is you have people with probably managerial aptitude languishing in a corner, and with research aptitude being the decision maker. And it is a classic conflict situation existing in an academic scenario. The wisdom to run a department lies with one person, but the actual de facto position lies with another person. And that is how the academic leadership scenario operates, not only in India, but worldwide. And this is where it is a breeding ground for different kind of issues that all of us as teachers face. And when I speak this, I'll request you to please go back to your own experiences, the challenges, the difficulties that you have faced, are facing, or you have seen your friends and colleagues face those issues. And you will feel that this is what is a breeding ground for those kind of things. And that is why academic leadership in its truest sense needs to be explored, needs to be gone deeper. Yes? Okay. So, and also, if I ask you, how do you understand academic leadership? What would your answer be? What does academic leadership require? What does it what will be the components? What will it take for people to be academic leaders? Friends, are you there?
Yes, we are there.
Okay. Dynamic to understand both academia and industry closely. Yachna, okay. Has my screen changed?
No, Ashish sir, it is same. It is food for thought only.
I don't know what is happening here. Can somebody help me with this? What should I do?
Are you able to see your screen?
I have logged in from 2 devices, so yes, I can see my screen. On my other device, I see my previous screen. That is the food for thought. Whereas on my screen, which I'm logging in, I can see the next screen. I don't know what has happened.
Okay, but we can also see only food for thought, right?
I have moved beyond that.
Okay. Maybe if some other participant can also confirm, because I can see only food for thought, because Maybe depending upon the network also, at times
No,
the
no.
slide gets lag.
No, it's
Uh,
food for thought
food
only.
for thought only.
Yes, food for
Alright.
thought only.
So Ashish sir, we'll request you to please scroll the PPT from the device on which the presentation is running.
Got it. So I shall stop sharing. Is that what you want me to do?
You
No,
yeah,
no.
from the device on which you have shared the PPT.
I am doing that only. I'm scrolling it from that only. Okay.
Yes,
Now,
now
now
it
we can
changed.
see.
Now
Now
you
it
can
has
see.
changed.
Okay. Now
Yeah.
this is how we will do it then. Okay. Well, I spent quite some time designing this presentation for you. I hope you like it, and it's a pity I'm not able to share this with you. Actually, it took most of my time. Anyway, I'm sorry for this inconvenience. Acha, I wanted to ask one thing. How is the flow of the session okay? Do you want any change? Do you want any change from your side, which I should adopt to make it more relevant for you, or is it going okay?
It is okay, sir. You can continue with from your point of view.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So I was talking about what academic leadership is all about. What does it entail? So it is basically the skills to motivate others to take certain courses of action, to persuade others that prescribed tasks must be done on time and in a particular way, to garner respect of others, especially with those whom we work or we associate. That is what academic leadership is all about. If you look at it, when we talk about leadership, a lot many of us focus only within the classroom, how we impact the lives of our teachers, of our students. But if you look at it, that is just one aspect. How we get along well with our colleagues, how we bring that atmosphere of cohesiveness. And if any one of us gets promoted to the next level, maybe from the faculty coordinator, you go to the next level, you become a dean, and which is what the normal progression should be. How are you able to motivate, bring together people, bring together to perform a task? I remember there was this university in Rajasthan which had a young vice chancellor joining them, and this gentleman came with a lot many of ideas. And I don't know whether you are aware of it or not, that nowadays, uh, because of the cross pollination with industry and academia, a lot of practices are being adopted from the industry to the field of academia. And one practice is that there is a performance appraisal not only of the faculty members but also of the directors, dean, and the vice chancellors. So what the promoters do, especially in private education, private promoters, they hand a set of expectations, targets. These are the admission enrollments, these are the faculty contributions, and with all that stuff going on. So this vice chancellor wanted the publication quantum to increase of the university. So he wanted to have publication, individual publication of all faculty members, and he wanted faculty members to write a book based on the courses that they were teaching. His premise was that there should be no problem with faculty members because the content is already there. They are already teaching that content. All they need to do is write whatever they are teaching in book form and publish it. It may not be a thick volume, it may be a small volume, but nevertheless, it would be a publication. It will be quantified under number of books published, and the column would have a sizable number of books authored by the faculty members. It seemed to be a good idea. Unfortunately, the faculty members did not respond because they were not convinced. And despite the fact that the leadership position was persistent, the authority was there, the instructions were there, the system was there, it could not happen. And which is why this is a statement which I shared with you. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are an academic leader. That is the essence of academic leadership. If we are able to inspire our students to become better versions of themselves, if we are able to inspire our colleagues to become better versions of themselves, if we are able to spread that positivity, that ripple of positivity around our own circle of influence that we have, all of us cater to carry, that is where we are moving towards academic leadership. And if you look at it from that perspective, you will find it goes way beyond what we have been mentioning. It goes way beyond how we have understood. It has much wider dimensions, much wider implications than just being good teachers or good human beings or being good faculty members. It goes way beyond that. Yes or no? Okay?
You.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me share with you this statement. A leader takes people where they want to go. A great leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go, but ought to be. Now, I ask you, how is that possible? How is that possible? How can you take people where they don't want to go, but they ought to go? How can you take that? Like this example which I just shared with you about this vice chancellor influencing or exhorting people to write a book. He wanted them to write a book, so he wanted them where the faculty did not want to go, but they should have gone there. They should have written a book, isn't it? That is the situation. If you would have been advising this person, this vice chancellor, what would you have said? How could he have made that possible? I leave the floor open to you. I shall stop sharing and hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tell me. How can a leader, he should have rewarded one who had written the book. Vinay, they didn't start writing the book. Give an incentive. Incentive feature was announced. How can you make a person go where he doesn't want to go, but where he should go? Let me put it this way. In your class, there are students you know who have high potential, who, if they work hard, can do better in their studies, can do better in their performance, can improve on their grades. Yes. And no matter what you do, you motivate them, you inspire them, you samjhaufy them, you scold them, you become strict with them, they don't respond. How do you handle that?
One thing, it could persuade them. Persuasion.
How? Persuasion? Jananji, have you ever handled this situation of a group of students? I'm sure you would have, who will just not respond. What do you do? What do we do? What is our normal reaction? I once had a class of BTech CS students. And one thing about engineering students is they are brilliant. They're intelligent, very intelligent. And because they're intelligent, they're also very mischievous, very naughty. A class of 85 students and one single faculty members, you can't control. It was the most notorious class. Teachers would come out weeping from that class because they were unable to handle. And there is only a limit to what you can be strict with them. You can't go beyond that. I don't know whether you have faced this situation.
Yes, I did.
Sir,
Yes, please.
if
Yes,
the
officer.
ideas came from them and if
Hmm.
their own idea, then they will pursue it better. If we give them some task to such a notorious class,
Hmm.
then they will take it otherwise, and they
Shweta
will see
madam,
to it that they'll not
Shweta
do it.
madam, you have a onerous task. You have a syllabus to complete. You have a time frame to complete. You have assessments coming in. You don't have the luxury of inviting them. And when you invite them for their input, they hijack the class. And then there is a section that turns out that madam ne kuch padhaya nahi, madam to baat karti nahi.
First,
These
we
are
have to say
these, these are the situations that we face. Jayanti, you were saying something. Yes, please.
first we have to say the importance of what is the subject you are learning. Then they have to get the interest first towards that subject. If they
Have
have
you
getting the
have you
subject
ever
towards the
tried that?
subject,
Have you
then
ever
towards the
tried that?
faculty also they will get the interest. Automatically, they will be attracted towards the subject at the same time towards the faculty also. It's my
Jayanti,
opinion, sir.
Jayanti, thank you for sharing that input. But I must tell you something else. That doesn't happen. Students are intelligent, they know. They know it is important for them to study, and yet they don't feel motivated.
Sir,
I
can
ask
I
you, how many of you face this situation? You know the subject is important, you know the class is important, and yet they will just not listen. And you know the dynamics. There is one person who is of this mentality, and he'll infect 10 others. Out
sir,
of a class of 70 people, if 15 people don't listen to you, your class is gone out of your hands.
may I answer for this, please, sir?
Yes, please,
Sir,
Rachita.
in fact, I would recognize the 2 or 3 most notorious students of the class,
Hmm.
make them the leader to control the whole session.
Hmm.
And I have faced this and I have done this. And
Hmm.
actually, students listen to the leader or the students who are the most notorious in the class, who are
Have you ever
making this. Yes, sir.
have
Yes,
you
sir.
ever tried to find out why the students listen to the notorious leaders?
Yeah, because they are very much influencing the other students in the class. They're very friendly, or they are very much looked upon by the other students by their humor. So, sometime if the charge is given to these students, they would actually be a good leaders and prove themselves to be a good leaders. That's what I have done once and twice in my class, and the class is quiet actually.
Thank you, Rachita, for that. And I have Dr.
Sir,
Hina
can I,
also for
sir?
a.
I'm
I,
Jayanti. Can I
yes, of
add
course,
one more
Jayanti.
line?
Yes,
Sir,
please.
what I will do actually, they have to do disturbance in my class or in between the class. I will call them. I will
Hmm.
talk with you personally. After the class, they will come out with along with
Hmm.
me. Okay, I will counsel them or mentoring them something. What is your problem? I will
Hmm.
first of all know the reason from him or her, whatever it is.
Hmm.
I will get that information. Can I change or you are going to change? I'm not getting that. Okay, you need, if you are you just asking to change the faculty in whatever perspective, yes, I'm going to change.
Hmm.
Such kind of options, if I'm going to give to that student, the students, oh, ma'am is giving importance to me, ma'am want to change according to us. Yes, she's asking about personal problems also. Like that,
Hmm.
maybe they are going to change. I did like that only. My students have focused on my subjects too, till now.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing
mentoring
that, Jayanti.
mentoring and
Do you?
counseling, it impacts more, sir.
Thank you. And why does it
Thank you, sir.
impact? What happens during this interaction? Thank you for bringing that out, Jayanti. I'm so grateful to you. What happens during this interaction? I'm sure all of us had tried this strategy at one point or the other. It has worked. What 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 actually transpires because of which it happens? Because of which it works out? What is that? And that is what the subject of this session is. You ask them, and Rashida madam, notorious people are acceptable not because they have a connection, but because everybody tries to avoid nuisance. I'll tell you about my strategy of dealing with notorious people. I isolate the notorious people, don't give them importance. I make friends with the rest of the batch. And when they are isolated, they don't have a support. Their support is, withdrawn from their from beneath their feet. Understand this. The moment you hand over the control to notorious people, you are actually playing into their hands because they have scored a point. That is what they wanted to do. And if you see it from an emotional intelligence perspective, you see the emotional dynamics that are shifting. You as a teacher are in a leadership role. People look to you for support. People look to you as a role model. People look to you for what actions you will do, and your actions will have an impact. So when they see you gravitating towards them, they understand this teacher has not been able to take a stand. There is no one. You see the dynamics operating. They are playing. They are influencing. Oh, well, Dr. Subhadra, share that joke with us. They see the impact that the influence that these notorious people have, and they know there is no other respite. So how do you do that? You segregate, you isolate. And how are you able to do that? By creating that emotional bond with the other group. So when Jayanti called those people, I asked her what she's actually doing, this mentoring, this conversation, she's laying herself open, transparent. That the barricades of a teacher and a student, she's dissolving. The students see her as open, as approachable. And these emotional dynamics that when they come up, she's able to direct that emotional energy to a direction which is now more required. This is how it changes. And this is a critical influence of how academic leadership operates in this through this emotional intelligence. You see, no matter what leaders set out to do, whether it is creating a strategy or mobilizing teams to action, in this case, the dynamics of the classroom, success depends on how they do it. Even if they get everything right, if the leader fails in this primal task of driving emotions in the right direction, nothing they do will work out as it could or as it should. We have this I don't know how many of you will agree with me when I say this. Teachers, are they supposed to be jolly or are they supposed to be strict? When somebody tells you it's a difficult class to handle, do you go there with a smiling face, or do you go there with your cautions on alert and being a strict?
Jolly.
Should be in
Jolly?
between, sir. Should be in between.
How would you normally want to be?
Smiling.
Very casual.
Is it? Now I'll tell you something. The idea that prevails in academic scenario is that oh yes, Radhika, that was nice. Humming.
Sorry, sir.
Oh, perfectly fine.
No,
Oh, that's okay. We like such classes. You see, it's a perfect class. Appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
In
Actually, I'm a
academics.
classical singer, so I was just humming and that just came out. I'm sorry.
Did I make you so happy that you were inclined to hum? If that be the case, I am happy.
Thank you.
Oh, we hum when we are happy. You see, it's happy emotions coming in. Yeah. In academics, we have this concept that a professor who is a strict, professor who is serious. Academics is serious business, isn't it? And Kinjal says in initial lecture he should be strict, then he should be liberal. Is it? Is it actually possible? Is it actually possible? And if that be the case, where is the authenticity? Where is the transparency? And if there is no transparency, where is our integrity? And all these are, dear friends, emotional intelligence competencies which have an impact. You see, they have an impact. I forgot what we were discussing. Yeah, I was talking about you have to be strict. You go with this in academics. You go with this mindset that if you are strict, you are taken to be a erudite, educated, disciplined, teacher. What do you think discipline? Where do you think discipline comes from? Does discipline come from strictness or fear, or does discipline come from within? How have you disciplined a class? Which method have you found of disciplining a class to be very effective? What has been your experience, dear friends?
So it has to come from within.
And how does it come from within, Sarada?
So when we be too strict, it's not possible, sir.
Why?
Freedom. We have
Why?
to give freedom. At the same time, we have to win their confidence.
How do you win their confidence? How do you win their freedom? When you give them too much of freedom, they dance on their heads, on your heads. Don't they do that? I hope you don't mind me addressing you as your first name. Please don't.
No problem, sir. No problem.
Thank you.
I think it comes from mutual respect. Teachers' respect for students, accepting them what they are, how they are, and students' respect toward teachers. That is how generally the respect can be built.
Dr. Hina, what you term as respect, if you go deeper into it, it is actually an emotional contagion that is transferring. There is an emotional climate that is being shared. And this emotional climate which they share translates out as respect, wherein you understand the student and the student understands you. And while we are talking about it, why are we restricting our discussions only within a classroom? If you look at it, it also peer to peer, colleague to colleague, the same perspectives they operate. I have Bhargav says, gone are the days when we as teachers used to be strict, but we need to change our mindset with time. If your content is powerful, no need to control the students. Bhargav, I beg to differ. Content has got no role in this. I'm talking about a different currency altogether. I believe the content we deliver helps me to manage my class. Dr. Parinaz, I have my own opinions about that, but those are personal opinions. Content has got no role. And this is one of the biggest fallacies that I've discovered. Content is available freely. Students have access to content. What they do not have access to is that emotional experience they gather, they get to experience when they interact with you. And that is why the critical need, the critical importance of EI competencies for academic leadership. What we teach in the class, we also borrow from some books. Those books are available on it. And you will have examples of students who will always prepare more than you. There have been students I have been terrified of because I knew they were so hardworking, so focused. They will always prepare and they will come prepared in the class and they will ask questions which I will find difficulty in answering. And I consider myself to be a good teacher, accomplished teacher. There is no dearth of content. People follow for a different reason. And this is exactly what I've been trying to discuss. People move in a direction because the leader has the ability to direct the emotional energies in a particular direction. And the mood, the emotional condition of a leader impacts the class. I'll tell you, I'll share with you an example. Can somebody ask Dr. Subhadra to switch off her video? I mean, if anybody can speak to her, can you ask Dr. Subhadra to kindly switch off the video? It's causing me distraction.
Yeah, you can message her personal message in chat box.
I don't want to offend her actually. She's logged in the FDP, but she's not on the FDP actually. uh, so, for the past 2 years, the pandemic has been raging like hell. And I am not the host, Dr. Karthikeyan. Am I the host? I doubt.
Yes, sir.
Uh,
How can I help you?
Dr. Krishna, if you can just ask Dr. Subhadra PS to switch off her video.
Okay, okay. I'll do it, sir.
She is in the FDP
Um,
and she's not in the FDP.
okay, actually, I can mute her. Either I can remove her. Let me just
No, no,
request her. If
don't remove her. Don't remove her, please. Don't remove her. That would be
okay.
too much. Let's.
Subhadra ma'am, please switch off your video.
So this pandemic time, one community that has been badly hit has been the teachers, and this is the community which nobody spoke about. Nobody. We spoke about the health workers. We spoke about the government machinery. We spoke about police people, army people, everybody, nursing staff, hospital, everybody, the administrative people. We never spoke a word about the teaching community. And if you have been members of, especially organizations who operate in a private setup, you understand the ordeal all of us have gone through. Anywhere, uh, in any case, if you look at it, teaching community is one community which is like the stem cell. Anything, any project, anything, any work, teachers can adapt to that work. So they can teach, of course. That is one requirement. They're also researchers. They're also admin assistants. They're also admission counselors. They're also all kind of a stuff. And when it comes to compensating them, I will not talk about that. You know the reality. So there was this institution, this university rather, which decided to close down a particular department because there weren't any enrollments. So what they did was they sent a high-ranking official to share this information to the faculty members. So there was a meeting, and this gentleman sits at the head of the table and he starts this conversation by talking about the competitors. Now imagine the scenario. This gentleman has been sent to announce that the department is going to be shut down, that the teachers will lose their job, that the entire workforce of that department is going to be disbanded. Okay? And it's a private university, mind you. This gentleman starts talking about the bad situation that they are in, the pandemic that they are in, the enrollments that they are in, how the competitors are doing well, and then somehow the talk shifted to his making a trip elsewhere to a different location and telling about the picnic that he had, telling about the vacations that he had, and so on and so forth. And as he kept talking, the resentment in the faculty members kept building up. You see? They started becoming enraged, not only at the decision of the management, but also at the bearer of this news, the person who was asked to, share this news to them. The atmosphere became so threatening that it looked as though some kind of mishappening would happen. This is how it impacted. So the meeting, of course, ended in a very negative note. The next day, the management sent another guy. And this gentleman, when he spoke to the faculty members, he spoke about their work. He spoke about their contribution. He spoke about the nobility of teaching profession. He spoke about the good work, the impact that they had created. He also spoke about the difficult times. And he concluded by wishing them good luck. What do you think was the difference between both these situations? Do you think there was a difference in the outcome? Do you think the faculties were impacted in a different manner in both the situations? Yes or no? And what does this tell us?
The way of approach.
What was there so very peculiar about the way of approach, Sardaji?
So the way we express ourselves matters, no, sir. The way we express, they started with a good note to the teachers, and he expressed that they are an important role in this field and all that. And he has won their confidence. Now, whatever he's going to say, they're going to accept.
Why and how? That is my question. Good. Agreed. How was he able? What transpired? Was the first speaker effective or was the second speaker effective? Who was more effective?
The second speaker was obviously effective, sir.
See, both the speakers were effective, but the effect were in opposite directions. Both the people were effective. You can't say that.
So 1 second. The second speaker was emotionally intelligent, sir.
Why? Why do you call him emotionally intelligent?
Sir, may I, Karthik speak?
Yes,
sir?
please.
May I?
Please feel free, Karthik. Please feel free.
Sir, in the first case, the faculty members might have left with an emotion of sadness. In the second case, the faculty members might have left with a sense of accomplishment that we have done so many things while we were present in the institution.
See, Karthik, sense of accomplishment may not be the term which I would describe the faculty members with, but I get your point. Thank you for sharing that. You see, the difference lies again in the emotional climate that both the speakers created. And that is an important aspect I want to highlight. Probe deeper. What Sarda madam just said, it is absolutely correct. But let us go at the reason. Why was he able to influence? The mental and the emotional state of the speaker impacts the audience. The first speaker's emotional state was that of disconnectedness. Was there any empathy in him? There wasn't. He was unable to fathom, unable to measure the emotional state of the audience in front of him. He was unable to tune into the emotional state of the audience in front of him, the situation that they are in. Imagine somebody losing his job overnight. What kind of stress and anxiety they might be feeling. He is totally impervious to their emotional state. He's talking about competitors. He's talking about the way they are getting admissions, the way they are getting funding, the way they are running their expenses. And on top of it, he's talking about the vacation that he took in such trying times like this. Can such a leader impact the positively the group? No. The second speaker, we know about empathy, right? But empathy requires tuning into the emotion of other persons, and which requires you to be observant of the impact your words are taking on the other person. We know empathy. We are aware of it. But we seldom practice it. How many of us make this effort of reading the expressions of other people? How many times we have said things, we have commented without taking into consideration the impact it has had? There was, in my initial days of teaching, when I still harbored the notion that a good teacher is a teacher who is strict, who is disciplinarian. I would have my class, and if my class would start at 9 o'clock, I would reach the class at 8:55, and close the door at 9 o'clock. So anybody who would walk in at 9 o'clock, after 9 o'clock, would be shut out. And I would proudly say that nobody can enter, not even President of India can enter my class when the class has started. And I would take very pride in that fact. 10 years down the line, one of my students, I caught up, somebody created a WhatsApp group. I was added to it. That is particular student was also added to it. 10 years after this class of mine, one day this girl calls me up because she saw me in the group, and she tells me, because of you, Ashish sir, I did not want to come to the college. I did not want to attend your class. I did not want to stay in that place because of you. And when she said that, I was devastated. I was devastated for a variety of reasons. Reason number one, I considered myself to be an empathetic teacher. I considered myself to be a good teacher, a teacher who transformed lives, a teacher who touched the lives. For me, it was a shock. The second thing by which I was devastated was that someone could carry that hurt for 10 years. And while she was speaking, I could feel that intensity of emotion. I could feel that intensity of emotion. So 10 years, that hurt has not gone. It is still fresh. And because of my inability to understand, it was a learning from me, dear friends. It was a learning for me. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is your emotional state impacts your audience. Whichever way, whichever, type of emotion you are feeling. So if you come to the class in a cranky mood, if you come to the class in the fit of a negative emotion, that emotional climate will be transferred to your audience. Be very particular about when you talk to your students or your colleagues, for that matter. Observe them. We don't do that. Observe them, the reaction. Observe them, the reactions, the impact that is taking place, the changes that is taking place, and modify your conversation accordingly. And that is where you will develop bonding. And that's the critical importance of EI, for that matter. When leaders drive the emotions positively, as was the case with the second example, they bring out everybody's best. And we call this effect resonance. Resonance, if there are people from physics, they will understand. This is a phenomena in sound. Resonance. When they drive emotions negatively, as with the first case, the leaders spawn dissonance. That is the opposite of resonance, undermining the emotional foundations that let people shine. So in your class, if you are aspiring to be an academic leader, in your group, in your peer group, if you are a director or a dean somewhere, in your faculty members, the team of faculty members, look for signs of resonance or dissonance. And you will see you moving towards the direction you want to move in. Yeah? Any thoughts from your side, dear friends? How much of what I've been speaking about is relevant to you? Do you
Very
see some
much
sense?
so. Like, it makes a sense. I'm a teacher, and it's like, sir, you are so correct that content doesn't matter. It matters how we behave, our how we connect. And like sometimes when I go to the class, I always used to have a group of notorious children. Sometimes I don't go with the content. I just talk to them. What are they interested in? What are happening in their life? And they gel up. And then I was talking about freedom. We cannot get discipline without freedom.
Yep.
If you want discipline, you have to connect with them, and then they open up, and then if I respect their views, they will respect me also, and then
Absolutely.
they will not disturb my class at all. But sometimes I have
Absolutely.
to leave the class free. You talk,
Absolutely.
laugh, have fun, joke. At least, like, if 5 days I'm going to the class regularly, one day I give them to talk, open up. And then, sir, when I take my class, they don't disturb. They just listen to me. Even if they don't
Absolutely.
like, also they listen to you. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, it matters. We have to smile. And if, like, in the first day, if I had some fights with them, next day I will not continue with the fight. Next day I have to
Abs-
forget everything and begin a new class. So you're so
ab-
correct. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that out. I'll share an experience of mine, dear friends. This class which I referred to, this class of 80 plus computer science students, you know, I went to their class for the first day, and I was, before me, in my own course, there were three teachers who had gone, and they were driven out. They were literally driven out. And I don't teach a course which is very technically, demanding or competent. Like, I'm not. I used to deal with courses on behavioral science, which is what my field is. Now, for an engineering student, behavioral science is a course which, okay, it's not very important for their program. It's there, so they have to do it, so they can tick off. So they had that kind of mindset. It was not programming, it was not mathematics. So those teachers received greater respect than us, which is okay. So what I did was, I would always ask them, would you want to study? And in unison, everybody would say no. And when they said no, I said, thank God it is a normal class. If you had wanted to study, I would have assumed that there are few abnormal students in the class. Who wants to study? So what do? Let's have storytelling. All right? They would say, yes, sir. So I will tell a story and you listen. And I will tell a story and then weave that story so that it brought to the topic. 5-6 sessions later, they said, every time you make a fool of us, sir, you entice us that way. This is not done. And it so happens that 10 years down the line, 15 years, sorry, down the line, majority of them are still connected. And I'm happy to see them grow in their lives. And they remember. What I'm saying is not that I did something great. What I'm saying is that the dynamics that operate, it is always the emotional dynamics that makes people, accomplish, move towards a set direction. So the fundamental task of leaders is to prime good feeling in those that they lead. I'm not talking about pleasing. I'm not talking about psychophancy. No, I'm talking about generating good, welcoming feelings. And that occurs when a leader creates resonance. And what is resonance here? A resonance is a reservoir of positivity that frees the best in people. At its root, the primal job of academic leadership is emotional. That is what I wanted to say. I believe that this primal dimension of leadership, though often invisible or ignored entirely, determines whether everything else a leader does or as well will work or not. And this is why emotional intelligence, being intelligent about emotions, matters so much for leadership success. This primal dimension, primal means the one, and which is critically important, primary. It demands that we bring our emotional intelligence to bear. And it is emotional intelligence leadership that drives resonance. And because they drive resonance, they also drive performance. We should know how to realize its power. Okay? Let me share with you. Kinjal says, right now our role is changed from faculties to students, and we can observe and analyze our behavior and response. Thank you, Kinjal. I hope you see some symmetry in what I'm talking and what you are feeling right now. That's a wonderful observation. Thank you, Kinjal. Thank you so much. Having said this, okay. Do you want me to share my screen? I am so disappointed. I had put together. Can you see that? You can see the screen, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So, academic leaders instill in their people a hope for success and a belief in themselves. Positive academic leaders empower people to accomplish their goals. Again, how can they do that? So I'd like to talk about two systems that operate inside human beings: open loop and a closed loop. Can anybody tell me what is an open loop and what is a closed loop? Anyone? Any idea? Okay. A closed loop system is like, let's say, your circulatory system. Okay. Your circulatory system is a closed loop system. You understand what is a circulatory system? A circulatory system is the system which governs your heart and your blood vessels. It also governs your blood pressure and all that stuff. Starting and ending point are the same. Yes. So the circulatory system is like that. The blood, the heart pumps the blood gets returned also in different chambers. Now, this closed loop system, it operates individually. Means that my circulatory system will operate independently of your circulatory system. So I may have a BP problem, God forbid, but that BP problem may not be affected by you. You may not be affected by what goes on in my BP. Okay. Yes, I see many examples coming up: clock and self-correct, feedback. Yes, I'm talking the same thing. An open loop system is a system which gets impacted by the environment. Okay, which gets affected by the surroundings. The open loop system that we carry within ourselves is our emotional system, which we call limbic system. Nature has given this limbic system to us, and this is a open loop system that we carry, which means that we get affected by the emotions that other people experience. Do you agree with this? We get impacted by the emotions other people experience. Do you agree with this? Whatever emotions other people are feeling, we get impacted by that. If you observe, you will find it to be true. And you know why? Why it has happened? Because fundamentally, we are programmed, we are primed, we evolved as a species who stays in a group. We evolved from primates, right? We evolved from primates. So how do primates survive? Primates survive by staying in a group. And when you stay in a group, your survival depends upon your ability to read the emotions in others. Imagine we in a classroom, all of us, and imagine us 1 billion years back. We are attacked by a group of predators. and I am unable to recognize the feel of or the look of fear in your eyes, will I ever ascertain that we are in danger? Will I ever come to know that I am in danger? I will not. And what will happen? I will lose my life because of that. So nature designed this limbic system as an open loop system which gets impacted by the emotions that others feel. You see, it's built in our system, it's built in our nature, it's built in our system like that. Evolutionary significance. Now, which means, and it has not changed, it is still there inside us, which means that in a class, the negative emotions experienced by your students impact you. In a class, the negative emotions impacted by a teacher is experienced by the students. And let's remove this class teacher dynamics for a while. I'll tell you something else. Is there anybody from the law background here? Anybody from law background? Anybody who teaches law programs in a university? Why I specifically ask this? Because it's a very law programs are a very formal program. There is a great deal of formality involved in law. You see their moot court competitions. You know, you just can't converse with the judge just like that. You need to seek their permission to speak. When they allow you to speak, only then you speak. And every time you have to speak, open your mouth, you have to seek their permission. So that kind of formality exists. Even in their written language, if you see, the degree of formality is too high. You see? So this dean of law department, very experienced person with a lot many credentials, who this university has enrolled in. So I was just having a conversation with him, and he tells me, Ashish, I tell you, this professor, he was late in his class by 5 minutes. And I said, don't take your class today, go back. I told him this. I told him right in front of the students, don't take your class, go back. These professors, I will set them right. They need to understand that the class has to start on time and has to end on time. So 9 o'clock class means it should start at 9 o'clock. It should end at 9:50. And he said this very proudly. And I was just wondering, what kind of academic standards is this? Are you dealing with a piece of machinery or are you dealing with humans? I'm not advocating indiscipline. I'm not advocating that a class of 9 o'clock should not start at 9 o'clock. No. But what I'm trying to tell you is this kind of watertight compartment approach that you adopt, where is this openness? What kind of emotional state you are putting the professor in? What kind of stress, what kind of anxiety you are putting the professor in? And when he goes to conduct that class, the bracket of the class would be conducted, but will he be able to teach? Will there be learning which he'll be able to transfer? Will he be able to make real change in real difference in the students that he teaches? And imagine somebody sticking up with such a dean for the rest of their professional career. Does it make sense to you? We started this discussion earlier when we spoke about, faculty members spoke about making difference in the lives of the student and all that stuff. We never took into consideration the emotional state operating. Now, in this emotional state, can you make a difference? Will the students not catch that emotional state? Does it ring a bell? Any thoughts you have from your side, dear friends? I hope you are listening to me. Thank you. Thank you, Kinjal. Thank you, Dr. Hina. So, the continual interplay of limbic open loops among members of a group creates a kind of emotional soup, with everyone adding on to his or her own flavor. Go back to the dynamics that exist between you and your colleagues, your peer colleagues, your team members. Move out of the classrooms for a while. The academic teams all of you are a part of. Go back to the dynamics that exist there. Each of you, when you interact in a group, whether it is a department, small department, large department, inter-department, university, group of colleges, some of you would be members of a huge academic community. You see that that those dynamics which are operating, it's like a soup, bubbling. When it comes to a boil, you see the bubbles coming up, so some kind of emotional cauldron gets created. Each of us, each of the group members adds a flavor, but it is the leader who adds the strongest seasoning. And why? Because people take their emotional cues from the top, even when the boss isn't highly visible. For example, you may not be interacting with your vice chancellor or the director very often because he's a busy person, but nevertheless the attitude and his mood impacts his direct reporting officers, and it flows downwards. Careful observation of working groups in action revealed several ways the leader plays a pivotal role in determining the shared emotions. Leaders typically talked more than anyone else, and what they said was listened to more carefully. Leaders usually are the first to speak out on a subject, and when others made comments, their remarks most often referred to what the leaders had said than to anyone else. You see, because the way a leader sees has its own special weight. So what I'm trying to say is that when you are in that leadership role, when you are dealing with team members, group members, many of you would be faculty coordinators. So let us say, for example, a BTech program you are running, you are the coordinator, and you have to coordinate with different faculty members. How do you bring about that coordination? Those are the dynamics that get involved. So people look at you they will watch you. So whatever you speak, whatever you utter, carries an impact. It carries a heavy emotional impact. The impact on emotions goes beyond what a leader says. In these studies that happened, the leaders, even when they were not talking, they were being watched more carefully than anyone else in the group. And this is what shall I say? I often call this the downside of leadership. Whenever you are in leadership position, you are always in the spotlight. Your actions are watched, your words you are watched, and when you don't speak anything, your gestures are watched, your non-verbals are watched. When in a group somebody raises a question for the group as a whole, the group members look towards the leader how he or she responds, and based on their response, they gauge their stand on a particular issue. So in a group, a leader sets the emotional standard, and that is why it is critical that leadership should be linked with emotional intelligence. And not all official leaders in a group are necessarily emotional leaders. I have a classic case in one of the organizations, dear friends. What happened was we had a dean who was, you know, was good at his work, but he did not express much, and he was perceived to be a weak person by his team members because he would not stand up for them. Usually, it so happens that when there are different departments, when there are different faculty in the sense that you have management, physiotherapy, law, engineering, journalism, all that. So the dean has to represent his or her own faculty, and the faculty members of this particular faculty for this dean, which I'm talking about, felt that the dean was not able to adequately represent them. So they were seen in a poor light, and there was a lot of resentment. The dean, through his gestures, through his appearance, even though he was good at what he did, created that kind of impression. And in the faculty group was one person who was very vocal, who would share, who would express his emotions, express his thoughts forcefully with a lot of emotional input. So what happened was he started gaining traction from the other faculty members, and power centers started happening. And over a period of time, this led to a conflict between the dean and this faculty member. So much so, the conflict grew so much so that the university management decided that both of them should leave the department. It's a classic case of what, how inability to express or read into the emotions of the team members can lead to the after effects. The dean who had single-handedly created the department later on was no longer a part of the department, and for this reason. Yep. So any thoughts from your side, dear friends? Anything from your side which you would like to add? Any experiences you would like to share? Too much of talking from my side for a very long time. Are you still there? I hope I am audible. Dr. Hina says, I fully agree to you. Thank you, Dr. Hina. I'm grateful to you for two reasons. Number one, agreeing with me, and number two, for giving me the impression that you are there.
Sir,
Thank
may
you.
I ask one question?
Yes, please, Dr. Shweta. Please feel
Sir,
free.
actually, still I'm not understanding why that VC failed to generate that book publication.
Sorry?
The VC story you said.
Yeah.
Why he failed to generate that book publications from?
Oh, it was very simple. It is very, very simple, Dr. Shweta. See, understand this thing. My idea may be my idea, but if you don't believe in that idea, this idea has got no significance. And the reason you don't believe in this idea is because I have catered to your intellect. I have not catered to your emotions. That is exactly what we have been talking about. The dynamics of how emotions play a role in guiding the collective emotional energies towards a particular direction. That is what leadership is all about. And this VC, even though he was effective, even though he was very dynamic, even though he was very good, even though he had the best intentions of the people, of the faculty members in his mind, was unable to motivate them because he failed to tune into the emotional state of his faculty members. If you look at it, this is how it operates everywhere. It operates amongst your group members. It operates with your superiors. It operates with your class. It also operates at a personal level with your family members. To enable people to follow, to enable people to be persuaded, to enable people to be, to follow what you said, you need to tune into their emotional state. You need to utilize the power of emotions. And I'm not talking about manipulation. No. Understand this thing. Emotional intelligence is not about manipulation. On the contrary, emotional intelligence is about authenticity and transparency. Emotional intelligence is about feeling your emotions and being in tune with your emotions, because by doing so, you'll be in tune with the emotions of others. And when you do that, when you make that emotional attunement with others, you are able to influence them in a much more positive manner, which is what academic leadership is all about. I hope I am able to answer your question, Dr. Shweta.
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. What is the course that you take in physiotherapy, Dr. Shweta, if I can ask?
I am a professor and principal, sir, Lokmanya Medical College of Physiotherapy.
What is the course that you take?
We have a graduation program, so my subject expertise is cardiovascular. Cardiovascular and respiratory.
Wonderful. I'm glad to make your acquaintance.
Thank you.
All right. One concept that I would like to talk about is diffusion of moods. There are two terms, emotion and moods. How do you differentiate between emotion and moods? How do you differentiate between emotions and moods? Emotion cause mood. Okay, Dr. Hina, emotion we can show. Okay. Okay. What else? Any idea? Any other idea? Any random wildest imagination? Moods are shorter.
Mood can also be based on the weather as well. Generally emotion does not based on weather, but mood, can be. Or what I feel that mood can be easily shift, but not the emotion.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hina. Moods are shorter. Komal says that. Neer says mood can be temporary, emotions prolonged. Actually, the reverse is true, Neer. Emotions are short, moods are prolonged.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. Yes, Kinjal, I'll explain that. I'll explain that. So let's say, for example, I am driving to my work in the morning. Okay, and my car is banged by a two-wheeler. So what is the emotion that I feel? What is the emotion that I will feel? Naturally, I'll be angry. I'll be very angry. So what I feel in that moment is an emotion, and that is anger. I feel it very strongly for some time, and then I don't feel it anymore. But I keep feeling bad for the entire day. There is like a cloud that is hanging on top of me. I'm not feeling anger anymore, but I'm not normal. I am upset, I am disconnected, I am not my usual self. I am not angry, but I'm not normal. What I felt later was a mood. So emotion is more specific, more sharp, more pinpointed. Mood is more diffuse. Emotion is something which motivates to action. Mood doesn't motivate to action. I'll tell you how. When you're angry, what do? Arey, nahi, Dr. Hina. Happy if you're not injured. Nahi. The only emotion that I'll face is irritation. Oh, I love my car. I love my car so much that I don't allow my wife to drive it. Yes. I'm very possessive about my car. It's a small car. It's not a big, expensive car. It's a small hatchback, but I love it. And so imagine my emotion towards that car is too much. If somebody scratches it, oh my God, Lord, save him from my wrath. Intense anger. That is the difference between emotion and mood. Getting that? Could you understand that? Sir, then you should visit Ahmedabad. Angel, I'll wait for an invitation. Why not? Invite me and I will be there. So this uh, Yale University School of Management, they did a uh, research on moods, and they found that moods are contagious. Generally, we say be more than your mood. Can you help me understand this? I'll help you understand how moods operate, and I hope I'll be able to answer your query there, Dr. Hina. They found out, they researched on how moods get, transmitted, how the contagious nature of the moods. And they found that among the working groups, cheerfulness and warmth spread most easily, while irritability is less contagious and depression spreads hardly at all. Which means that when you are happy, that cheerfulness spreads easily. When you are irritable, that doesn't spread. And it is a study conducted by Yale. So when effective people work, the upbeat mood, the cheerfulness that they work with, it spreads. And when that cheerfulness spreads, it brings in cooperation, fairness, and of course, busyness. If you have prepared for some event, let's say you are holding a conference, and you get the chance of working with the people of your choosing, the people which you like, the work doesn't look like work. It becomes an enjoyment, isn't it? You're holding a conference, a workshop, or maybe this FDP. You can ask Dr. Sarika and Dr. Krishna. Both of them have worked very hard together in tandem. And for them, I'm sure this work is not work because they enjoy working together. Why? Because this mood is contagious. When cheerfulness happens, performance automatically comes. That is the idea I'm trying to drive at. So academic leaders, if they are trying to accomplish something, should focus on creating a happy environment. Unfortunately, again, you will see that I'm giving you all negative examples, but that is how it is. This HOD was in the habit of taking a round, and once while he was taking a round across his department, in one of the classes, he found the noise of laughter coming out. And he peered into the class and he found that the faculty was engaging in a joke and the people were laughing. And the next moment, when the class got over, he called the faculty to his chamber and gave him a left, right, and center. Is the class for teaching or is the class for cracking jokes? What kind of teacher you are? We have not hired you to crack jokes and laugh. We have hired you to teach. Please teach. It crippled the faculty for the rest of his tenure. It's a sad case. You spread cheerfulness, you spread positivity, people will follow. Discipline will happen. I have example of a faculty, people would leave the sports ground and attend his class, not because of any disciplinary issue, but because, number one, he was a good teacher. Number two, he respected everyone. His class was full of fun and learning. Fun and learning. I don't mean to say that you crack jokes, no, because that would again be a manipulation. I would say that a healthy smile can be faked, but a laughter cannot be faked. You can fake a smile. You may not feel good inside and yet you may smile. That can be faked. But when you genuinely laugh, because laughter is a complex set of muscles coming in. It's a complex expression coming in. And all that have an emotional base. So look for these signs in your team members. Do they laugh with you often? Do your students laugh with you often? Not a forced laughter, a genuine laughter. Laughter means that you are there, that somebody is there for you. They appreciate your company. They appreciate you. They are in tandem. They are in alignment with what you think. That is a positive thing. You see, so I believe that is all from my side. I had a couple of other things to share, but in the interest of time, I shall now pause, dear friends. And the fact that both our faculty coordinators have come on the screen with their videos on tells me that I am drawing to a conclusion of today's session. Thank you so much for being a lovely audience. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. And
So shall we take one or two questions if participants has? That is why actually we appear on the
we
screen,
can take a
rather
lot
than-
more than that. We can take a lot more than
if
that
they
questions.
do,
And yes, why not? And
participants, like we are giving you a time for one or two questions to serve.
I have one small request as well. And
Yes, sir.
I'll be sharing a link in the text box, in the chat box. It's the link to a personal feedback form. And why I say that, because this will help me grow, help me learn. This is a system that I have always implemented because I am one among you. So I'll be very grateful to you. It will take hardly a few seconds if you just fill
No
it up.
issue, sir. Will
Thank you so much, Krishna madam, for allowing me. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Dear friend, this is separate from the AICTE feedback form or any feedback form which the organizers will have. This is for my personal learning and growth. And while we are filling it, we can have questions. Please.
Any question, participants? Then please go ahead. I think it was more interactive, so they have already interact with you in between. But still, participants, if any question.
Krishna madam,
yeah,
it is lunchtime. I can understand why they don't have questions.
I agree, sir.
I have been a
agree,
faculty
but still
myself.
I'm giving you some-
I have been a faculty myself. I understand.
But as organizer, it's our duty to ask the participants if they are having any questions. So our expert is with us, so they can directly interact with you or they can directly ask their queries.
Yes, indeed,
Yes.
Dr. Sariga. I do
Yes,
appreciate that.
we are waiting with time, no? So we are not allowing them to ask. So that is why we are like appearing on the screen that
I
just
do understand.
throughout the session, if they do have some questions, they can ask.
I do understand.
Yes, Chandrasekhar sir, to ask anything?
Hello.
You unmuted your-
Hello. I am Chandrasekhar sir from VFSCR University, Guntur. My question is, the students are of different tastes, different capabilities, different emotions, and different expectations. When we are dealing with the class, as you said, to make them cheerful and happy, there's a bright side of it, and that we should do it. And administration also have to be sensible to this. Yes, they are human beings.
Yep.
They have to treat them as human beings. They are not vessels to be filled in. They are individuals with personalities that they have to grow together and then become right personalities. For that, healthy situation is not physical discipline, but mental discipline and internal discipline that is recommended. And thirst for learning, quest for learning, and inquisitiveness to learn, and try to do something of that to have a name for themselves. And that thirst has to be set in. Then the entire atmosphere is of commitment and engagement and becoming something of their contribution. They will feel happy and celebrate their whatever is small success they reach out, and that has to be celebrated. And this is my feeling, sir. In my class, I do that. I share them. I encourage them, and I try to have empathy with them, and then encourage them, and give every opportunity to see that they come up. And even if there are flaws are there, I try to guide them and try to encourage them for their active participation. Sure.
Thank you so much, Chandrasekhar ji, for sharing this. And when you go deeper into these actions of yours, you will find that these are actually emotional intelligence dynamics that are playing out. If I ever get a chance, I'll take you through that. We do it in a subconscious manner. All these what we were talking about, we do it in a subconscious manner. Only thing is when we learn it to a conceptual framework, our attention gets more focused.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Friends, I have shared my phone number in the group. If you ever have a chance, please feel free to connect. This is also available on WhatsApp. I may also share my email ID for your reference. If there are anything that you may wish to get in touch with, any query that you need to resolve, I'll be too happy.
I'll share with the participants that Ashish sir is very quick in giving the response. So anytime you can disturb him, you will
Thank you.
always get response from Dr. Ashish Johri.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sarika.
Totally agree with ma'am. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful session and joined us for this GSMS GTU Atal FDP on emotional intelligence. We have looking forward to your long association with GSMS and in our other events also. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so very much.
So participants will meet at 2:30 for our next session number 9. So it's a lunch break. We have just finished at 1:30 sharp. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sarika and Dr. Krishna. I'm grateful to you for giving me this opportunity. It was a wonderful experience with the participants. And I do hope that we meet again. Thank you.
Yes, I'm sincerely thankful to you for accepting our invitation and for joining this FDP. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I can log off now? Yep.
Yes, sir, please.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, please.